There's a way to make a woman worry about you without opening your mouth. And it starts by becoming a man she can no longer predict. Predictability is comfort, but comfort never creates desire. If you are always available, always soft, always explaining yourself, she will never feel the primal urge to chase you. Stop thinking you need words to be seen. Your aura, not your explanation, is what she remembers when you're gone. There's something primal that happens when a man goes silent. A deep, psychological shift takes place in the mind of a woman, not because he says something shocking, but because he says nothing at all. In a world full of noise, silence is the rarest, most disruptive signal. You see, the moment you stop explaining yourself, the moment you stop over-communicating, the moment you stop chasing approval, something terrifying begins to happen inside her mind. She starts creating her own stories. And here's the catch. The stories she invents in your silence are far more powerful than the truth you could ever offer. Because silence isn't emptiness. Silence is space. And space is what the human mind fills with obsession. Let me say this clearly. Every man out there who thinks communication is the path to attraction has been lied to. Yes, honesty is vital. Yes, openness matters. But not in the beginning. Not when you're still building your power. Not when you're still earning her respect. Your silence must not be accidental. It must be calculated. It must be deliberate. It must be soaked in purpose. Every time you don't respond, you signal that you are occupied, that your life is filled with mission, with motion, with meaning. Things that do not require her validation to exist. And if a woman senses that she is not the center of your world, she will begin orbiting yours. Think about it. When was the last time you were obsessed with something that was always available? Do you crave the air you breathe? No, but what happens the moment it's taken away? You panic. You gasp. You fight to get it back. That's what silence does. It triggers the emotional oxygen loss. It hijacks the dopamine system. It activates the parts of the brain linked to uncertainty, desire, and craving. And that, my friend, is where attraction is manufactured. Every time you delay that response, every time you don't explain why you were busy, every time you allow her imagination to run wild, you become the thing she can't stop thinking about. But here's the most critical truth. Silence only works when it's earned. You can't be silent because you're scared. You can't disappear because you're weak. You must go silent because you are moving forward, because you are ascending, because the version of you she knew is no longer standing still. He's evolving. He's locked into his discipline. He's waking up earlier. He's lifting heavier. He's building something so powerful that explaining it would only weaken its impact. Your silence is not a tactic. It is your new identity. It is your detachment from emotional dependence. It is your rejection of constant validation. Let me tell you something most men will never hear. When you speak too much, when you over-explain, you give her a sense of control. And when she feels in control, she stops worrying, she stops wondering, she stops chasing, because nothing is left to explore. Mystery is not about manipulation. It's about control of your own energy. It's about recognizing that you don't need to constantly prove yourself to be valued. You need to withhold, to pull back, to make her feel the space you create with your silence. You want her to worry. Stop checking in. Stop trying to reassure her. Stop letting her know she still has your heart locked in a cage. Instead, disappear into your growth. Become a man who is so deeply immersed in his own development that her presence is not a necessity, it's a luxury. And if she doesn't bring peace, mystery, and hunger, she doesn't get access. There will be a moment, a turning point, where she looks at her phone and realizes, he didn't text today. He didn't like the story. He didn't watch the reel. He didn't call to say goodnight. And at that moment, her nervous system will light up, not because you played games, but because your energy is no longer free. You've stopped giving your mind away for cheap. You've stopped validating her with every swipe of your thumb. You've taken back your power and placed it inside your purpose. Here's the truth that will shatter the lies you've been fed. Attraction isn't built by saying the right thing. It's built by doing the right thing and not explaining it. You train in silence. You disappear into your craft. You become untraceable, unreachable, unknowable, not to punish her, but to ignite her curiosity, to activate that ancient, primal algorithm in her brain that screams, why did he stop chasing? What is he doing without me? Who is he becoming? And when those questions echo in her mind, she becomes addicted to the unknown. If she wants answers, let her reach for them. Let her step into your world. Let her earn the words you used to give so easily. This is what separates boys from men. Boys chase. Men ascend. And as they rise, they don't waste words trying to be understood by people who aren't evolving with them. So here's your new code of conduct. Speak only when necessary. Respond only when it serves your peace. Reveal only what aligns with your purpose. And let silence be your signature. If she can't hear you anymore, it's because you've gone somewhere she can't follow. And that silence is the sound of power. You want her worried. You want her anxious about losing you. You want her checking her phone, replaying the last thing you said, analyzing your tone, stalking your digital trail, asking herself, what changed? Then here's the truth you were never told. Predictability kills desire. The moment she can map your behavior like a pattern, you're no longer a mystery, you're a routine, and no woman craves routine. She tolerates it, she respects it, but she does not obsess over it. You want to live rent-free in her mind. You want to be the thought that keeps her up at night. Then stop being the man she already figured out. Because once she knows your every move, your morning text, your predictable compliments, your good night at 10:32 p.m., the way you always give in during arguments, the way you show up right when she expects you to, that's when her emotional system flatlines. She no longer reacts to you, she anticipates you. And anticipation kills attraction when it turns into certainty. You want to change that. You want her nervous about losing you. Then you must become something she can't explain anymore. A force that shifts without warning. A presence that evolves in silence. A man who wakes up tomorrow, unrecognizable from the one she met yesterday. You want her attention. Disrupt the version of you she's already memorized. Because if she can finish your sentences, if she won't chase your silence, if she knows your schedule better than you do, she won't crave your time. If she can guess your response, she stops needing to ask the question. And when the emotional puzzle becomes too easy, she throws it away. Let me give it to you straight. Women don't crave safety. They crave intensity. And intensity doesn't come from being a nice guy with a daily routine. It comes from emotional unpredictability. It comes from knowing that at any moment, you might disappear into your purpose, that you might shift gears and go silent, that you might elevate so fast she has to chase just to stay in your orbit. Unpredictability is not about chaos. It's not about being toxic. It's not being uncontainable. It's about becoming the kind of man who lives on the edge of growth, who is never quite finished evolving, who makes women feel like they have to earn clarity with you. So how do you do it? You stop texting her at the same time every day. You stop giving her the same compliments that she expects. You stop explaining your thoughts every time she gets emotional. You stop showing up just because she's sad. And you start training her nervous system to feel the absence of your consistency. One day, you're the man who calls. The next, you're unavailable. One week, you're flooding her with attention. The next, you're too focused on building your empire to answer meaningless questions. Because here's what no one told you. Certainty is attractive only until it becomes ownership. And once she feels like she owns you, she loses the emotional need to keep chasing. You want to destroy her ego. You want to destabilize her emotional comfort. Then become the man who breaks her rhythm. Be the earthquake. Be the change in weather. Be the man she can't count on to do what every other man has done. The man who gives her what she wants, but not when she expects it. The man who disappears for 3 days and comes back better than ever, without apologizing for the silence. The man who doesn't argue when provoked, because he's mastered emotional control. The man who doesn't flinch when she threatens to leave, because he knows he's the one who leaves first. You must understand something brutal but true. The moment you become emotionally predictable, you become emotionally replaceable. And women don't worry about losing men they can replace. They worry about losing the ones they can't understand. So shock her system. Surprise her with your silence. Surprise her with your absence. Surprise her by leveling up without including her. Surprise her by setting boundaries she never saw coming. Surprise her by being unavailable during the moments she used to have full access to you. Why? Because every shock you deliver resets her emotional dependence on you. It re-engages her curiosity. It ignites the part of her brain that craves complexity, challenge, danger. You think she wants safety. She says she wants safety. But her biology is wired for the chase, for the unknown, for the man who moves like a shadow she's desperate to follow. Now listen to this very carefully. Unpredictability doesn't mean inconsistency. It means being strategically elusive. It means being deeply present one day and totally withdrawn the next. Not out of neglect, but because you are living life at a higher frequency. And only those who match your energy get access. So when she tries to reach the version of you she once knew, Let her realize he's gone. He evolved. He outgrew the pedestal she put him on. He stopped being the puppy who waited for her attention and became the wolf who moves through the night, calm, silent, unstoppable. When she asks where you've been, don't explain. Let your glow answer for you. Let your progress, your strength, your silence speak louder than any text you could have sent. And if she accuses you of changing, you smile and say, exactly, that's the point. The version of you that's predictable is the version of you that dies alone. The version of you that shakes her expectations. That version becomes legend. So here's your new law of attraction. Stop being the man who shows up when expected. Start being the man who shows up when he decides. Because when you become unpredictable, you become unforgettable.